Hey, what's up? My name is Jonathan Fink. I'm the author of the Republic Baseball League, and this is my audiobook series. Today we're going to read Volume 1, Chapter 10, The Perils of Central Planning. After breakfast the next day, Sarah was again quickly out the door on her way to the office. Professor Dempsey took a little longer in the house before leaving. Based on the subject matter of his lecture for the day, he knew exactly what to wear. A little more than an hour later, the professor walked into the lecture hall sporting a replica of the red jersey of the national baseball team of Cuba. He turned, stepped up to the blackboard, wrote communism in big uppercase letters, turned back around, and told the class that his discussion today would not involve baseball. Instead, the lecture would focus exclusively on the communistic economic model of central planning, its perils, and a comparison of this approach to other economics theories discussed in his previous lectures. Dempsey told the class that according to the financial website Investopia.com, a centrally planned economy, also known as a command economy, is an economic system in which a central authority, such as a government, makes the economic decisions regarding the manufacturing and distribution of products. Centrally planned economies were different from capitalistic market economies, where such decisions are traditionally made by businesses and consumers, because they generally ignored the realities of supply and demand dynamics in the marketplace. Then, Dempsey discussed Ludwig von Mises, one of the most influential Austrian economists of his era. Von Mises, who wrote and lectured extensively on the impact of the economics on society, was best known for his work comparing communism and capitalism. He argued that command economies were untenable and doomed to fail because no rational pricing mechanism could emerge without competition and private ownership of the means of production. His theory was supported by the fact that centrally planned economic decisions made by communist governments throughout history, at least up until that period in time, were proof that authoritarian economic policies led to massive shortages and unnecessary surpluses throughout the economy. Von Mises was an advocate of laissez-faire economics and a staunch opponent of all forms of communism, socialism, fascism, or any type of government system based on authoritarianism. Known for his devotion to the principles of free markets in opposition to government economic intervention, von Mises contended that a free market economy, where the choices of consumers and entrepreneurs operated through the laws of supply and demand for consumer goods, capital goods, and labor, was the most effective system to manufacture, price, and distribute the economic goods and services desired by consumers. He believed that government intervention in the economy produced unintended consequences that often harmed the very people the government claimed it intended to help. Dempsey then referenced Milton Friedman, the brilliant economic and statistician who recently received the Nobel Peace Prize in economic science in 1976. Like von Mises, Friedman also believed that the perils of communism and central planning were very real. He believed that for command economies to operate, rational decision-making by buyers and sellers must be suppressed and therefore infringed upon an individual's liberty. Dempsey's reference to Friedman and liberty led to a class discussion of the difference between a centrally planned economy and other economic systems. As the students got up from their seats, Dempsey said, "Please be sure to hand in your assignments due today. You can give it to me now as you leave, or you can bring it to my office before the end of the day." Rachel, Corey, and RJ, who had completed their assignment the day before, collected their belongings, handed their papers to Professor Dempsey, and headed out of the lecture hall and into the hallway. Because Dempsey did not wear an American League jersey to class, he wore the Cuban national team baseball jersey, Corey lost his double nothing bet with Rachel. He turned to Rachel in defeat and said, "I'll Venmo you the cash, unless you prefer crypto." Rachel responded, "I'll take the cash. Thank you." End of chapter 10. The next video will be the Republic Baseball League Volume 1, Chapter 11, The Empowerment of Direct Democracy. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you watching. You guys take care. God bless.
This month, we have some great sports card stories from across the U.S. and talk to an author from nearby Leawood, Kansas, who has written a book about returning to collecting after 3 decades away.
My day job is I'm a financial advisor, so I've been investing for over 20 years. In a way to express my love for the hobby, I decided, what if I write an investment book, Sports Card Collectors Club, and treat the stock market the same way I would treat the card market. And so I thought, well, how would a day trader invest in cards? How would a venture capitalist buy and sell cards? How would a hedge fund do it? As I would go through my trials and tribulations, I realized that for as much fun as I was having investing, there was something missing. And one day I was watching the Royals game on television, and it was a rain delay. And the Card Life television show came on. I was watching that episode, I was watching Matt Strom open cards and rip packs, and I started getting the warm, fuzzy feeling. I said, this is what I want to be doing. I want to get back to really collecting and ripping cards and building sets. And that's where the story of my book has a change. I go from investing back to collecting.
I'll also open a variety of boxes from different sports. So he hit the home run off me in like the 7th inning. And then in the 8th inning, JT hit a double, so he's standing on second. And Mason Wynn asked him, he's like, "Hey JT," he's like, "I heard Strom collects cards of guys that take him deep." He's like, "Does that mean he's gonna send me over a couple cards to sign tomorrow?" And after the game, we had won. I mean, winning is the only thing that's important to me. So it's like, I was good after the game, whatever, and JT comes up to me and he's like, "Hey Stromy," he was really genuine. Like he wasn't taking shots. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, when I got to second, Mason asked if you're gonna send a card over for him."
I'm just looking around my basement here, just walls covered with concert posters and toys, and just like, I have no intention of selling these things. I collect because I want to show off the things I love and do it in fun ways. And it just never crossed my mind that, hey, I'm going to go buy this thing just so I can resell it. Like that to me isn't a pure collector mentality. And obviously things change and times change. And, in order for things to survive right now, you have to have that sort of chase for something valuable.
Yeah, it needs to be a circus. You know what? The truth is, I actually watched the live stream on eBay Live with Ken Golden and Logan Paul. They ripped a box of 86 Flair and a box of Series 1 Pokemon. And you know what? It was very entertaining. They're both polarizing characters. I thought it was entertaining. But you know what? After every pull, they immediately are showing the value. And it begs the question, are we creating, not we, is the industry creating a gambling culture which has a real downside?
It already has. Right. Not created. It's here.
Yeah, and
that's
a concern. I guess for me, I hope to be an influence where we focus more on collecting, because you know what, when markets crash, collectors don't get hurt at all. Because the Sandy Koufax you bought that because it makes you feel good. It brings back good memories.
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight.
You have created community, so let's talk about that. I went to Rip Night at your shop. Let's rip it on the pack. And I went to your Rip Night 2 years ago, and it was one of the best. I wrote about it in Volume 1. It was one of the best times I've ever had. You guys had this giant scoreboard where you had the chase cards, and everyone can buy whatever product you wanted, like buy 3, get 1 free, whatever product, whatever it was. You then, if you pull a Bronny James, you then get another blaster. Or I pulled a Reed Shepherd auto, and then I got a free T-shirt. And I sat around the table with strangers and had the best time ever. So let's talk about how important community is. And what you guys do is provide an anchor for community in our town. How important that is.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, one of our taglines, we say we'll make an offer on anything, but like you said, I mean, we got to pay what it's worth. And so if it's junk wax, it's going to be junk wax prices. which unfortunately, a lot of people end up thinking that their
Right.
87 Topps Barry Bonds is going to be a couple $100 or
It's
something.
worth nothing, people.
That brand and notoriety. And so when you're pitching these stories to these athletes, like I've reached out to a couple of different athletes about writing a potential article about their collections and having them kind of share their story. And it's like, yes, like I write for collectibles on SI, which is under the Sports Illustrated umbrella. It does carry weight. Like it does, people recognize that brand. It is important. And so I'm super grateful that I've been given the opportunity to write for that staff.
The top segment that was done by you on you was so well produced, right? Did all that come from the conversation you had with Michael Rubin? Is that how that put you on the map to such an extent that all those opportunities happened? How did that happen? Did you get a call one day?
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight with a pack in hand and a story that bites.
I didn't even collect when I was 3 years old, like when this card came out, but oh, he just pulled a good one. Roman Anthony, from Dempsey, I love Wichita State.
Yeah.
I would have been thrilled if he went to Tulane, but his parents have roots in Nebraska. So for him, it was coming home. And so Nebraska got a good one. And so I'm not
That's
surprised
awesome.
that program's on the rise because they got a great stadium. They have great resources. They got a great fan base with people like you. And their recruiting is fantastic. They're finding the talented kids. So
Yeah,
watch
in
out
fact,
for the Big Ten.
So yeah, Will Bolt, the head coach, he actually played at Nebraska when I was traveling with the Nebraska team in the late 90s. He was down at Texas A&M when I worked at Texas A&M. Rob Childress is the pitching coach, and I was on the hiring committee that hired him away from Nebraska to come down at Texas A&M, and they're thrilled that he's back here in Nebraska. He's a genius. The number of players in pro ball right now that went through Rob Childress, so he'll be under good guidance when he gets up here to Nebraska. They're good people.
One kid found a mantle in the rain. One old friend came back with the same old chain.
Talk to me about the reaction of the players, the other players,
yeah.
when they see this bat putter. Are they
Yeah.
flipping out? They freak out when they see it?
And they see it and they're like, they just stop. Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that question is because I had that experience literally yesterday. So when I first got the bat putter, I think I bought it 6 months ago, and it's customized for the Republic Baseball League, which is so cool. And now that I realize, now that I love it so much, and I got to use it yesterday, I'm like, I got to start buying them for different people. Like anyone's a guest on my show, they're gonna get a bat putter, okay? Yeah. But the point is, I never use it because I thought it was too sacred to me. I keep it in my office like a sacred shrine. It means so much to me. But then I was like, after watching all these videos and stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? There's this indoor amazing place in Kansas City called Tap-Ins. Okay, they have an outdoor putt, but also indoor. And depending on the weather, the whole thing, it's an amazing atrium, and it's become a successful business. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? That's a perfect. It was a hot day. I'm like, it's a perfect thing to do. So my buddy Paul Greenwood, who I featured in my first book, we went and played around. And when I showed up with this bat putter, people were freaking out. They were literally losing their minds, and that's when I realized. So then, and then, by the way, it was a Sunday, middle of the day, hot as heck. I want to see how it gets made, but you probably do actually.
I want to see if there's quality control testers there.
But attention! If anyone at the Tops is watching, Grip and Rip we want to get invited to a tour at a factory. The two of us.
I told them I would work for free.
Right.
I would work absolutely free. I want to see how their stuff's made.
Yeah, I'm curious. But like collation is like I'm sure there's a bunch of engineers that sit around and design.
Got some breaking news for you.
Yeah.
Slab just texted me.
No way. What do you say?
Looks like this is the first year to hear it. Who is that?
Right.
Let me see here.
Breaking news. Grip and Rip. Breaking news.
Oh, U.S. agent. Okay, so I just got told that the finest mega boxes are going to be really, really, really good.
Oh, interesting.
1.6 numbered cards a box. So you're guaranteed one numbered card with a 60% chance to pull a second numbered card.
Wow,
and
interesting.
Autos are 1 in 3.
Whoa. So do you think that Topps decided to go big because this is their first year with Topps Finest in retail?
I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Right? Because
I do think so.
You usually get so upset with the delayed numbers, they're delaying them. Or maybe, by the way, I don't know if it's a conspiracy that the odds are coming out later. I just think that maybe they're just not as efficient as they used to be.
You might have watched this game back
I'm
when.
sure I did.
Currently,
yeah,
it's
Derek
only
Coleman. Yeah, he was on my fantasy team for sure.
pretty crazy to think, in the future you would be able to collect that moment that you watched.
Right. And by the way, check that out. It's worth $198 versus the ones that are worth 35 cents because it makes sense. Because the same way that you value your 1964 Willie Mays card, you're going to value your Drazen Petrovic, and you're not going to want to give it up unless it's for a very, very good price because you love that memory. And what's wild is the same way that you get the warm fuzzy feeling with dopamine hit, whatever, when you look at a card on your shelf, it's the same thing. But when you're online at the bank, you don't have your cards with you, Paulie, but you do have your phone, and you can pull up your Drazen Petrovic and pay respect to him and watch a couple of his awesome plays that give you the warm fuzzies because you can. It's wild. And so